Oh, Sarvadharmasthapakatvam Sarvadharmaswarupakaha Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. O establisher of all the faiths, embodiment of all the religions, the greatest teacher among all the teachers, O Sri Ramakrishna, my salutations to you. Namaste, Pranam. Sri Ramakrishna tells us that for the householders worshipping the formless aspect of the God, the chanting of Soham, Soham, I am the Supreme Self, is not the right attitude, Sri Ramakrishna says. And why so? Because we are so much filled with the self-consciousness, with the body consciousness. We are so much into the spirit of me and mine. That self-importance that we have for ourselves is so great that we can never get beyond this body and its meshes. We are steeped in the worldliness, and with this condition of ours, there is no point of saying that I am the Supreme Self. We are bound by this selfishness. We are trapped in this net of selfishness. So what is the way out for the householders then? Sri Ramakrishna says, it is better to become the child of the mother. Get rid of that, you are not able to get rid of that I in its totality, of that self-importance of this body consciousness in totality. But then surrender yourself at the holy feet of the Lord. Surrender yourself at the holy feet of the Divine Mother. Say, I am the child of the Mother. Say, I am the servant of my Master. I am the devotee of my deity. Get into that mode. And then a stage will come where the householders will be able to shake off this self-importance. They will be able to come out of this net, of this trap of getting trapped into the me and mine. Then they will come to a stage that they will say, Saha aham, soham, soham. But for that, one has to chant the name of God. For that, one has to follow the path of devotion. And while following the path of devotion, always have that attitude of I am free. When one calls oneself as the child of the mother, the child of the Divine Mother can never be bound by the shackles of the Maya. The child of the mother can never be bound by the entrapments of these worldly entanglements. Say, I am free, I am free, I am free, and the man will remain free forever. Sri Ramakrishna says he will never get trapped into the worldliness. But if we keep on saying, oh, I am bound, I am bound, I am bound, I am a sinner, I am a sinner, I am a sinner. If we keep on repeating this, we will remain bound. We will keep on committing sins. So, have that confidence, have that assurance that I am free, I am free, I am free. So that was the teaching Sri Ramakrishna gave to Sri M and to us. And being Sunday, other devotees started coming in the afternoon. Sri Adhar Sen had come, Sri Balaram Basu had come, Balaram Babu. And these devotees came and they sat on the floor anticipating to listen to the nectarine teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. Now, some of the talk got turned towards goddess Simhavahini. Simhavahini is the aspect of goddess where she is riding the vehicle, a lion as a vehicle. Simha is lion. Simhavahini, one who rides lion, is the Simhavahini, Mother Durga. So this talk turned towards goddess Simhavahini, and Sri Ramakrishna had the vision of goddess Simhavahini. Now Sri Ramakrishna is sharing that experience which he had with the devotees. Sri Ramakrishna says, yes, I visited the goddess. I visited the goddess Simhavahini. She is worshipped by one of the branches of the Mallick family of Calcutta. In Calcutta, there are so many branches of Mallick family. One such branch worships goddess Simavaini, and Sri Ramakrishna had visited their home. This branch of the family is now in straitened circumstances, and the house they live in is dilapidated. The walls and floor are spotted with moss and pigeon droppings, and the cement and plaster are crumbling. But the other branches of the Mallick family are well off. This branch has no sign of prosperity. Among so many branches of the Mallick family, this particular branch was in such a dire state, was in such a straitened circumstances, their house was absolutely in dilapidated condition. It was unclean, pigeons were hovering in the house, and the floor and the walls, they were full of the pigeon droppings. The moss had accumulated because there was no regular cleaning. The people were so poor, they couldn't clean the house properly. And under such circumstances, Sri Ramakrishna says that goddess Simavaini was being worshipped, while the other families of this, other branches of this family, they were all well off, they were well to do. But this particular family, although being poor, Simavaini was worshipped over there. And Sri Ramakrishna then asked this question to Sri M. Well, what does that signify? How is it that the family, being so poor, they are still worshippers of goddess Simavaini, while the other branches are all well to do? They are doing so good. They have plenty of riches. But this family, which is so poor, whose house is in such a bad condition, they are not able to upkeep the house properly. There is no cleaning, there is no maintenance, there are no repairs even. But even in that house, goddess Simavaini is being worshipped. Now, when Sri Ramakrishna asked M why this happens, why things like this happen, Sri M has no answer. M remains silent. And then Sri Ramakrishna continues. The thing is that, why this condition of, the poor condition of this branch of Mallick family? Sri Ramakrishna answers that question too. The thing is that everyone must reap the results of his past karma. One must admit the influence of tendencies inherited from the past births and the result of the prarabdha karma. Whatever is there accumulated in our book of accounts, from all the births that we have lived, for all the good and bad that we have done, all those karmas, they get carried forwarded in our book of accounts, and we have to face the consequences of all those past deeds. We may say that, oh, in this life I have not committed any single sin, I have not committed anything wrong, I have done only the good things, but still I am suffering. And Sri Ramakrishna says, it is not just this life that is accounted for in your account books. Your book of accounts are carrying the pluses and minuses of your karmas for all the births that we have lived. One must admit the influence of tendencies inherited from the past births and the result of the prarabdha karma. And then Sri Ramakrishna says, nevertheless, in that dilapidated house, I saw the face of goddess radiating a divine light. Although the condition of the house was so bad, they were in such a great poverty, but still the goddess Simavaini who was worshipped there, Sri Ramakrishna saw a divine light emanating from that goddess. He had that vision of that goddess Simavaini in that house which was in such a bad condition. I saw the face of the goddess radiating a divine light. Sri Ramakrishna had that vision. Although financially the family was in such a bad state, they were not able to upkeep the house, they were not able to maintain the house to a certain level of cleanliness, certain level of repairs. Even then, They were worshipping goddess Himavini, and Sri Ramakrishna perceived. He had the vision of that bright living goddess under those dire circumstances in that house. One must believe in the divine presence of the image, Sri Ramakrishna says. If the divine image is worshipped with the great sincerity, with the great yearning, with great devotion, the goddess becomes the living presence even in that dire condition. And then Sri Ramakrishna told about another of his experiences when he had visited a place called Vishnupur. Vishnupur is a place on the way from Jairam Bati to Calcutta, on the way from Kamarpukur Jairam Bati to Calcutta. And in fact, our Ma used to stay in Vishnupur at one of her disciples' place. Vishnupur, Sri Ramakrishna also used to travel, and there are a lot of temples over there. And one temple, such temple of Brunmai, goddess Brunmai. Sri Ramakrishna is telling about that temple that there is certain association of that temple with this goddess Brunmai. Now Sri Ramakrishna says, once I went to Vishnupur. The Raja of that place has several fine temples. There are a lot of temples in Vishnupur. Mrunmai is there. The Chinnamasta temple just next to Mrunmai temple is there. There are several. The Raja of that place has several fine temples. In one of them, there is an image of the Divine Mother called Mrunmai. Mrunmai is the aspect. It is made of the clay image. It is called as Mrunmai. There are several lakes near the temple, known as the Lal Bandh, Krishna Bandh, and so on. The temple is surrounded by certain lakes, and there is one lake, Lal Bandh, next, adjacent to this temple. In the water of one of the lakes, I could smell the ointments that women use for their hair. Normally, women, whenever they go to a temple of the goddess, they offer some things, and one such thing that they offer is a kind of an oil, a hair ointment. First, they anoint their hair with that oil, they take a dip in the lake, and then they go to the temple. Now, Sri Ramakrishna was not aware of this tradition, but he said, the moment I went to the temple, I got a feeling, I got an experience that there was this particular ointment which was being used. I could smell the ointments that women use for their hair. How do you explain that? I didn't know at that time that women devotees offer ointments to goddess Mrunmai while visiting her temple. He was not aware. But the moment he got into that lake, he got the smell, he got the aroma of such and such ointment which was being offered to Mrunmai. Near the lake, I went into Samadhi. Though I had not yet seen the image of the temple. In that state, I saw the divine form from the waist up rising of the water. Sri Ramakrishna had not visited the temple yet. This was his first visit to the temple of Mrunmai. He didn't even know that there is a tradition of women offering some kind of a ointment, the hair oil, to the goddess. And the moment Sri Ramakrishna went to this lake, he had perceived, he had a realization of some smell of that kind of ointment which women use on their hair being offered to Mrunmai. Sri Ramakrishna had not seen the image of that deity which was being worshipped in that temple. But Sri Ramakrishna says, the moment I got into that lake, I saw the form of goddess coming up from that temple, and that form of goddess waist up was exactly the form that later Sri Ramakrishna saw in that image in the temple. And then Sri Ramakrishna says that how this happened? It is all the mother's doing. I don't know how it happened. He just went into Samadhi at that point of time. And in that state of deep Samadhi, he saw the form of Mother, the goddess Mrunmayee, coming up from the water up. And he saw that form which was waist up, rising from the water. So this is what Sri Ramakrishna explained his experiences of having had the vision of goddess Simhavayini, of having had the vision of goddess Mrunmayee in that Lalband lake near the temple of goddess Mrunmayee. Then the devotees, they started talking about some other things. They spoke about some political things that were happening in Afghanistan at that point of time. Meantime, other devotees had arrived, and some referred to a political revolution and a civil war in Kabul. One devotee said that Yakub Khan, the Amir of Afghanistan, had been deposed, and he told the master that Yakub Khan, the Amir of Afghanistan, was in fact a great devotee of God. And in spite of being a great devotee of the God, he had met with this particular thing, that he was deposed and he was taken off the throne. This great devotee of God. So this was the talk that was going on, and Sri Ramakrishna says that, but you must remember that pleasure and pain are characteristics of the embodied state. The good things and the bad things, the pleasure and the pain, the good state and the bad state. Like that Amir of Afghanistan, at one point of time, he must have been in such a wonderful state when he was an Amir. Now he is deposed. He has been taken up from that post. He must be in a bad state. He must be in a pain. So good and bad, the pleasure and pain, all these things, the embodied beings have to undergo. You can't avoid it. Till the time we have this body consciousness, we have to face these pairs of opposites. We have to accept that reality. You must remember that pleasure and pain are characteristics of the embodied beings, of the embodied state. You can't avoid it. One day you are on a throne. Next day you are pulled off from the throne and put into the dust. That is what the state of all the embodied beings, they have to undergo. One day you are in such a higher position. Next moment you can be on the roads, you can be on the streets. And then Sri Ramakrishna quotes from certain scriptures. In Kavi Kankan's Chandi, it is written that Kaluveer was sent to prison and a heavy stone placed on his chest. Kaluveer was a great devotee of Mother Kali. So in Kavi Kankan's Chandi, it is written that this great devotee, he also suffered to a great extent. Yet, Kalu was born as a result of a boon from the Divine Mother of the Universe. This devotee, he was born with a boon from the Divine Mother, and still he had to face all those dire circumstances. He was sent to prison. A heavy stone was placed on his chest. Such torture, physical torture he underwent. The Kalu, the person who had taken birth as a boon from the Divine Mother, even he had to undergo, what to talk of the ordinary mortals for that matter. Thus, pleasure and pain are inevitable when the soul accepts the body. The moment the soul accepts the body, the pleasure and pain one has to suffer. The highs and lows one has to suffer. The good and bad one has to undergo those experiences. Though, again, take the case of Srimanta, who was a great devotee. Sri Ramakrishna is giving examples after examples how the embodied beings, although they are great devotees, they suffer to a great extent. Now he is giving an example of one by name Srimanta. Though his mother Kullana was very much devoted to the Divine Mother, there was no end to his troubles. Srimanta's troubles never ended throughout his life. He was almost beheaded. There is also the instance of a woodcutter who was a great lover of the Divine Mother. She appeared before him and showed him with much grace and love. The Divine Mother herself appeared before this woodcutter, showered her grace, showered her love, showered her affection. But he had to continue his profession of woodcutting and earn his livelihood by that arduous task. It was not that just because he had the Divine Mother has showered her grace that he lived happily ever after. No, even being a devotee, he had to undergo that suffering. Again, while Devaki, Krishna's mother, was in prison, she had a vision of God Himself endowed with four hands, holding mace, discus, conch shell, and lotus. Devaki knew that God Himself, Lord Vishnu, is going to take birth from her womb. But still, she and Vasudev, her husband, they had to suffer in that prison house of her brother, or her own brother, Kamsa. So this is what happens, Sri Ramakrishna says. The moment you take up a physical body, the moment soul is embodied into this body, physical body, the suffering starts. There is no end to it. You have to have that pain, you have to have that sorrow, you have to have that misery, and you have to lead the life experiencing all these experiences, undergoing all these experiences. This is what happens the moment one gets embodied, because the moment one gets embodied, we have to bear our karmas. We have to start obeying the law of karma. You do something good, you reap good. You do something bad, you reap bad. You experience bad. So this is what happens even in case of the divine souls. When they take the physical bodies, when they get incarnated into the human bodies, they also have to suffer. So that was, and possibly this was, I mean, not possibly, I mean, this was the straight explanation of why that branch of Mallick family was under such straitened circumstances, in spite of their worshipping goddess Simhavayini and Sri Ramakrishna himself experiencing the divine light being enlightened by the goddess, the image of the goddess. So this is how all the embodied beings, they undergo, all the embodied souls, they undergo the experiences of the pairs of opposites, the pleasure and pain, the good and bad. Om Namah Shri Bhagavate Ramakrishnaaya. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Jai Thakur, Jai Ma, Jai Swamiji.